Today, we're going to be talking about 7 mental loops that keeps people stuck. Professionals, business people, students, people generally who want to make success in their life. These 7 things are the trap they get stuck in, and they do not know why they are in the same circle again and again, making efforts in their life and not producing any measurable result. What if the reason you are challenged in your life, the reason you are struggling very hard, is because of your mental loops? Have you ever had to play a song on repeat mode where the song just had to play again and again? Being in mental loop is when you're perpetuating the same cycle of thoughts. Research has it that we think about 60 to 80,000 thoughts every day. And the interesting thing is, those thoughts are beneath our conscious awareness, and how we think, how we act, and how we feel becomes our state of being, becomes our personality, and our personality controls our personal reality. So when you are thinking the same thoughts, negative thoughts, repeating the same cycle of thoughts again and again, you have programmed yourself in your past. Your brain operates in 2 modes, fast and automatic mode, and in the slow and careful mode. Both modes are quite good for you if they are working together. But if not, if those 2 parts of your brain clashes, then you are going to be overanalyzing everything. And that's exactly what we're talking about, you being in a mental loop. Now, let's look at the first loop. I need to learn more. This trap is a very dangerous one, where you think you don't know enough to start. Yet, people who are doing far more than you are in your field of endeavor, they probably are not as smart as you are. They probably do not know as much as you know. But one thing they know and one thing they do is that they take action immediately. But for you, you want to learn, you want to go for the next course, you want to read the next book, you want to ask the next question. You just seem to always put yourself in that place where you think you are not ready or that you're not good enough, because you think there is something you do not know. You have to break out of that trap. It's a trap, it's a loop, and you have to come out of it. And what do you have to do? You have to start even when you think you are not ready. What you have is enough for you to start. God will always ask the people, the prophet will always ask, what do you have in your hand? And the truth of the matter is, what you have in your hand right now, the information you have right now, the knowledge you have right now is enough for you to start. Trap number 2 you have to come out of is the I need approval trap. There are people who would never begin, who would never start on their journey. They will never start that business. They will not make that investment. They will not do that thing that they need to do, because they are seeking validation. They want someone to approve them. Maybe their spouse, maybe their friends, maybe their family. They just seem to get better in their mind when somebody approves them. But the question I want to ask you is, when will you take the remote of your life off the hand of someone else? When would you stop allowing someone else be the driver and the pilot of your life? You need to come out of this mode. And what you have to do is to begin to trust in your choices. Trust in your mind. Trust in the investment of God in you. Trust in the voice of God to you. Believe that your choice and your decision matters. Believe that you have what it takes to move your life to the next and higher level. The third trap that gets a lot of people stuck is, I need a perfect plan. You know, we live in a society today where perfectionism seems to be the order of the day, especially for people who went to school. This is one of the traps that the educational system tend to put people. The so-called erudite people, so-called scholarly people, so-called educated people, they are those who usually fall into this trap. They always want a perfect plan. They just want to put the finishing touches. And while you are doing that, your days are counting, your months are running, and your years are running. And that aboki guy somewhere who didn't go to school has an idea. He just starts. He kicks off the kiosk, he buys 1 or 2 things, and he begins to sell. And in a matter of months and years, this our educated guy, we that went to school, we seem to just be in that rut, and before you know it, we cannot compare to that guy who didn't go to school. So you need to break out of this trap in your life. When you have an idea, brother, start. Sister, start. Take that first step. The journey of 1,000 miles, they say, begins with 1 step. A drop is what makes a mighty ocean. So you don't need a mighty ocean. You don't need the perfect plan. Just go ahead and start. The next trap you need to break off is the trap of this is who I am. You know, you hear people haven't done some very silly things. Instead of taking ownership and responsibility of their action or their thoughts, they say, this is who I am. You know, you stay stuck in your negative circle, in your limiting belief, and you say, this is who I am. You're better than this. You can't be better than this. You can come out of this circle. You can improve yourself. You can become a better person. You can choose better words. You can choose better actions. You can relate more professionally. You can relate with clarity and simplicity. You cannot hold on to your past and remain there. You must move forward. You must progress in your life. And how do you do that? Accept to learn and be a better person. The question I would like you to ask yourself as you begin to step out of that rut is, who do I truly want to become in my life? When you look at who you can become as against who you think you are or who you thought you were, then you will see that these two personalities cannot quite match. The next trap that a whole lot of people get stuck in is the I am thinking about it trap. I'm planning it. I'm working out something. Have you heard someone say, brother, why have you not started that thing you say you want to start? He said, I'm working on it. Trust me, I'm working on it. He's been working on it for the past 12 months. He's been working on it for the past 5 years. He's thinking and working on it. He's not doing anything about it. How do you break out of this? Stop thinking. Stop planning. Start doing. Start doing. Tony Robbins will say that complexity is the enemy of execution. And why do we sometimes make things complex in our lives? Because, of course, again, we talked about the perfection trap now. We are trying to perfect the plan. And we are still planning. 5 months ago, you were planning on it. 12 months ago, you were planning it. Today, you are still planning it. Stop. Start. Did you hear what I said? Stop. Start. That's the way to break out. Now, you may not get it right. Don't get this wrong now. That you're taking action does not mean you are probably going to get it right the first time. But when you take action and you fail, when you stop planning and start acting, you begin to exercise your decision muscles, and the more you decide, the more you act, the better you become. The number 6 loop or the number 6 trap that many people are caught in is they are better than me trap. We live in a society that has programmed people to begin to compare themselves with themselves. Even our educational system, our schooling system has helped a lot in programming people wrongly. The very act of taking tests and exams in school could, to a large extent, be the reason people compare themselves with themselves. I give you an example. A child who is in a class who comes out 10th position or 12th position can begin to think that the guy who came out first is better than him. So when it's time to act, he just generally thinks the guy who came out first is better. Let me shock you. Nobody is better than you. Stop comparing yourself with others. Even the Bible says that those who get stuck in the habit of comparing themselves with others, they are not wise. And you are wise. So nobody is better than you. Your ability is yours alone. Your giftings, your grace, your mind is a super mind. And God trusts in you and gives you the mind and the idea. Then it's your choice to decide to act. How do you come out of this loop? How do you break out of this trap? Only compare yourself with your past. And that's the very truth. You are not in comparison with anyone. You are not in a race with anyone. You are just competing with your past. If you are better today than you were yesterday, brother, thumbs up. You are doing well. That's all you need to. Just make efforts to be better today than you were yesterday. And decide that tomorrow is going to be better than today. The last trap, as we round this off for today, is the maybe this is all I can do. When people take action and they get certain results, especially when they have tried again and again to do better, they just feel, maybe this is all I can do. You can be better than where you are and what you are right now. So this is not your summit. This is not your last bus stop. There are more lands to conquer. There are more successes to achieve. There are more strides that you can achieve. So don't think this is all you are. You can begin to look at yourself from the light that you are not a perfect being yet. In other words, you are not a finished product. You are being perfected. And when you see yourself in that light, you know that there is more that you can do. Success is not as difficult as society has made it seem. Of course, we have been programmed with the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism. Vishen Lakhiani calls it the culture scape. You will have to break out of that culture scape where how people think, what they do, and the programming that society has programmed the masses to be in will not be your lot. You will have to take control of your mind. Success is not as difficult as it seems. They program the masses to be poor because they want to have more people to control and they want to have more slaves they can ride on. But you are not among the masses. I like you to say that to yourself. I am not among the masses. I have been called to be among the elite, and your mind is the tool by which you do that. Success is more psychological, is more mental than it is physical. So this is where the power lies. My call to action for you today is pick one of these traps every week. As we enter a new week, just pick one of them and work on it and gradually move yourself from point A to point B. And very shortly, you will soon see that success is not for a select few, that even you can be successful in your business and you are also among those that can fly.